Shalom, Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Alright, Israelites, we constantly doing the history on the Israelite Brotherhood channel, because, we got to learn together, and this is what we do. And, reading the book of Zephaniah, 638 BCE, man, you Israelites, we need to understand, why did he come about with his message? We already know what was going on with us and how we was shaky and wishy-washy. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't do right by the covenant and how we would rather please our enemies and the people that didn't worship Yah. We would rather please them and try to satisfy them than try to satisfy the Yah that Moses gave us. We just gave up on Yah and just totally embraced the Amorite tradition. Now, this what a lot of Israelites don't know is that, man, we kind of messed up from Exodus. After we Exodus Egypt. We already had a lot on us then because we had been exposed to Egyptian culture for a long time. See, this our problem is that we are quick and willing, men, to worship other folks' religion, man, and other folks' gods, and we think it's okay and we are justified in our minds that it's okay. Our parents could have been wrong, which they was wrong in the sense, our parents taught us to love a God, a creator. That's good, but the method and the true God, they wasn't exposed to, long time ago, coming from slavery and the tradition that the slave master put on the slaves is still here today in how we believe. We know that that's part of the curse is believing in the way that the slave owners taught us, and that's not natural for us. But if you look at our history and how we conducted ourselves, man, them folks, the slave owners, them ain't got nothing on our wickedness and so forth. But like I said, we was exposed, man, to a lot of corruption, man, when we left Egypt. And then, before we get in the promised land and get into our heritage, the most terriblest thing happened to us is that we let the Amorites into our heritage as servants under Joshua instead of, destroying them like all the rest of them was supposed to be destroyed. Now these folks are hidden in our heritage. The Amorites have been hidden in our heritage since Exodus, so we never could get it right. The priests, especially the northern kingdom, who where some more serious scribe Amorites were placed. So, they never could get it right in the northern kingdom, and Samaria was its capital because of those Amorites were lodged in our heritage. I'm going to try to expose some of this, but I'm going to go into the book of Zephaniah, but I want to read a little history that led up to it, after King Hezekiah's death, and that his son Manasseh, man, basically sealed our faith. Man, his sins was worse than the Amorites. Now that's awful if your sins are worse than the Amorite sins, and that's what led to, the book of Zephaniah come about 4 years later. But it was a sealed thing with us. And then during King Josiah's reign, because Zephaniah was doing that time, King Josiah found the book, and then the prophetess told him that, hey, it's over with. It's over with, and destruction come, and then destruction came in the form of the Scythians. That'd be Habakkuk telling us that they come, but then you know we got destruction prophets that was telling us about the destruction. I mean, the destruction prophets gonna be Nahum, uh, uh, Habakkuk, and Zephaniah. Those are the destruction prophets that is coming to tell us that it's over. And Daniel, Ezra, and Jeremiah are going to be mostly dealing with the exiles, the few Israelites that did get caught up, that believed in Yah. And then, how they would have a messenger giving and delivering hope to them and keeping them inspired. Uh, uh, Man, it's awful how our people, really conduct themselves. And it's a good thing is that the Tanakh is around, man, to where we can look at our past actions and then we can make corrections, because we're going to get a chance again, because Almighty Yah going to give us a chance again. Look, Nahum 697 BCE, Assyria destruction. That's like he was called in. We was playing around with the Syrians, and then Judah, man, we couldn't get it right. We couldn't get it right because of what Manasseh did, and then that's gonna bring Prophet Zephaniah in to tell you of Judah destruction in some of the other nations. And then Mehubak, our doom, Ashkenazi come in and ran us off the land. And all this can be seen in history just like this. When you read Tanakh history and you looking at it like this, you can see the clear picture. Now, we know that our heritage fell into the other people's hands, so they've been all their life trying to, portray this false history about Israelite history and more or less writing it up in favor of them, and then that'll be them books and that false history that you Israelites are reading. This is the real history right here. This is the real history, and it's coming from the Israelite Brotherhood. It's coming from us. We could do our own history now. Once you know dates and timeline, it's common sense to read history around that era, and then you can kind of find the prophecies when a prophet prophesy something. You can, from the point that he said that you start reading down in history, you gonna find it, and then you gonna see it, and everything about us Israelites you can see real easily, real easily, real easily. You know, uh, uh, like I said, us Israelites, man, we wasn't too smart in the past. We wasn't too smart in the past, and sometimes we wanted to show the folks that we can worship they God more than they can, and better than they can. Us Israelites crazy, like that. We can worship your God better than you can, and that's the mentality that we had. When we come across strangers and they introduce us to their gods, we Israelites will go horn off to their gods, and we'll say we can worship your God better than you can, and then we'll take wickedness to a whole nother level. If you ain't doing Yah worship, then you doing something that our ancestors ain't supposed to do, no matter how right it seemed or how long you been doing it. Our ancestors laid out the righteous way to worship our Creator. The other nations got their own gods and they false gods and so forth, where we had the real Creator. But look here, we was messed up since we've been messed up since our ancestors left Egypt, and this is Ezekiel saying this, and this is Ezekiel 23. The word of Elohim came unto me, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of one mother, and they committed whoredoms in Egypt, and they committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breasts pressed, and there they bruised the tents of their virginity. In the name of them are Ahala the elder, and Ahabala her sister, and they were mine, and they bare sons and daughters. This were their names: Samaria is Ahala, and Jerusalem is Abala. So the Egyptians bust us in, man, is what he's saying. You know, the Egyptians open up open us up to the false god worship, because if you read our history, and we was with our father Israel all the way up into Egypt, and ain't no way in the world we'll do any of the Egyptian religion while Jacob was alive. But you know, after he passed and we Exodus Egypt, some of them Egyptians come with us, and they would, you know, be a thorn in our side. And then us being exposed to Egyptian culture, plus having two of the tribes that were of Egyptian ancestry. That'd be Joseph's two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. So that would keep us a connection with the Egyptians, as I have shown throughout plenty videos. The tribe of Ephraim through Jeroboam kept a strong connection with the Egyptians and so forth. Well, that would doom us, and we couldn't never get on track with doing the covenant that Moses presented to us, that's supposed to be anti-Egyptian, anti-Babylonian, and anti-Assyrian gods and so forth. All right, but you see how, you know, Prophet Ezekiel say that, you know, we was, you know, messed up from the start. You know, that the Egyptians had bust us open, broke us in. You know, the Egyptians broke us in. You know, the Egyptians broke us in, and then when you go to, that'll be, let me see, that'll be Joshua 14. Now that'll be Joshua 9. And then, not only was we messed up with the Egyptian stuff, but then when we leave Egypt, and then before we get into the promised land, some Canaanites tricked us that would be in our heritage all the way till we was driven out. You know, the Gabonites, and they were Amorites. You know, they tricked us when we was coming into the land, and we was destroying some of their kin folks, and then they went and took some old bread and some old shoes and got some old wine bottles and put on some old clothes and tricked us and told us that they come from a far distance and how they heard of our Yah and wanted to serve us. And then we made a league with them, not consulting the Creator, and then they will be in our heritage as Amorites, and they will be in the priests, in the priests' places and so forth, laying in the cut. And then when we get kicked out the land and driven out the land, then they would emerge as the new so-called folks that's claiming the Israelite heritage. You know, they've been exposed to our heritage for a long time, and then they would betray to be us, and they're called the Sephardics right now. You know, they're called these peoples right here. See, and they was from Cypher too, and they settled in Samaria, and the northern kingdom could never get it right because those folks was there. They was in Samaria, but King Josiah had cleaned the land up, and man, it still didn't do us no good because, you know, we was too far corrupted and gone and so forth. But I'm going to read some of this history too, so we'll get this understanding how we got messed up, and how the book of Zephaniah going to be Judah's last act, and him telling us that, hey, it was over with and everything come to fulfillment in Ezekiel and Jeremiah. All right, and it come to pass when all the kings were on this side of Jordan. This is Joshua 9. In the hills and the valleys and in the coast and in the great sea over against Lebanon and
the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, they that gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel with one accord. And when the inhabitants of Gabon heard what Joshua had done unto Jericho and Ai, they did work willingly, tricky, and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses, and wine bottles, old and rent and bound up, and old shoes and cloth. They always deceived us and been deceiving us for a long time in captivity. They've been creating false history for us, calling us Negroes, blacks, African Americans. They done created everything, all the false holidays that we worship here in captivity. They created all that stuff to keep you away from your heritage, or to keep you from ever coming into knowledge, man, of your heritage. And then they created a false culture because they are the founders of America, the mirror. I got a video explaining how these Amorites come over and set up the whole plantation system and so forth. All right, they did work willingly and made as if they had been ambassadors. They put that old stuff on, and look, and all the old bread, their provision was dry and moldy. And they went to Joshua unto the camp at Gilgal, and said unto him and to the men of Israel, we be come from a far country, now therefore make a league with us. And the men of Israel said unto the Hivites, we don't know, but Joshua, went and made a league, and then we found out that they was from real near, you know. You know what I'm saying? They say that they heard what y'all had did to some of them folks when they come up out of Egypt. And all that did to the two kings of the Amorites that were beyond Jordan, to Sihon, king of Heshbon, and to Og, king of Bashan, which was at the Ashtorite. You know what I'm saying? There were some very important folks that we destroyed, and they was kindred to them. Wherefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our country spake to us, saying, take victuals with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say unto them, we are your servants, and therefore now make a league with us. This is our bread we took hot from our provisions on our houses on the day that we come forth to go unto you. But now, behold, it is dry and moldy. And these, you see, they lied to us. The Amorites always lied to us. And they've been lying to us about our origin and about our heritage since we've been here in captivity. If you see that they'll lie to us in our beginning, they gonna lie to us in our end too. And that's what they've been doing to the Israelites by creating this false history. You see how they created a false illusion for our people when we exodus Egypt, and then how did they create a false illusion about us right now today. Look, and the men took up their victuals and asked not counsel at the mouth of the Elohim. And Joshua made peace with them, and made a league with them to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swore to them. And it come to pass at the end of 3 days, after they had made a league with them, that they heard that they were their neighbors, and that they were among them. And the children of Israel, man, we had to been so tore up and messed up, man, because they tricked us. And look, they was Amorites. We made them to look. And the princes said unto them, let them live, but let them be hewers of wood and drawers of water unto all the congregation. And the princes and them promised. See, so we made them stick around our temple. Another stupid act. But we did stupid stuff after we left Egypt, and we never could get it right. And we never could get it right. In the tribe of Judah under David, it's the only time that we tried to get it right. All right. Other kings, they pushed the hard line, but King David was a real Yah worshiper. And Joshua called for them, and he spake of them, saying, wherefore have you beguiled us, saying, we are very far from you when you dwell among us, and therefore ye are cursed, and there shall none of you be freed from being bondmen and hewers of wood and drawers of wood unto the house of my Yah. That's the worst thing Joshua could have ever did, was made them stick around the temple. So now
They been around our heritage a long time and been around the temple. So the priests ain't gonna never be able to get it right. Whenever you're reading about the priests are corrupt and doing wicked and evil stuff in Tanakh history, know for sure that them other folks been around us since Exodus, and they been near the congregation. You know what I'm saying? And the congregation ain't gonna never get it right. They started out with a lie. So what make you think that they gonna want us to be righteous and do right, to stay in sovereignty over a land that they ancestors control? No, they gonna want us up out the land one day, and them being in our heritage and the priests couldn't never get it right would lead to us being expelled from the land. Plain and simple as that. Plain and simple as that. But you see how the Amorites, men, was in our heritage. Now check this out. Let's go to let let's go to First Kings. I might break the Tanakh out for this. We're gonna break the Tanakh out for this. I was read from that old uh, J.K. But I'm finna get this Tanakh on this Manasseh history so we can get a real good understanding. We need a real good understanding of how folks been easily playing us and sending us out in the left field because we do Yah worship, and we be going. We be going. We happy to prove to the other folks that we can worship their God and do it real good. That's been the Israelites' doom from the, you know what I'm saying, for the longest. An Israelite, want to embrace the other folks' gods and worship them. Man, we ain't gonna never get on our feet as a people because we wasn't created for that. We was created to worship the Creator only. All right, so let me pull up on the Kings. All right, and this would be 2 Kings 21. So really, when you get down to Manasseh history, and then this is gonna be around about 698 to 642 BCE. See the wickedness that Manasseh did, the wickedness that Manasseh did, gonna bring our end, gonna bring our end, and these are the doomsday prophets right there, coming to tell us that it's over with. Them the doomsday prophets. If you read their history and understand the timeline and the time frame, those are the doomsday prophets. Those are the doomsday prophets. The man, those are the doomsday prophets. All right, let's go to all right. I got First Kings. We need Second Kings though. We need Second Kings, and we need to pull up on page 21. All right, and then we're gonna see how this go down. You get a better understanding, I swear, when you read the Tanakh, than to be reading that King James version on a whole lot of things dealing with our heritage. All right, and let's put this here where this can be seen. All right. Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned 55 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hephzibah. He did what was displeasing to the Elohim, following the apparent practice of the nations Elohim had disposed before the Israelites. That's going to be the Amorite culture. He built the shrines that his father Hezekiah had destroyed. He erected altars for Baal and made a scared post as King Ahab of Israel had done. He bowed down to all the host of heaven and worshiped them. And he built altars for them in the house of the Elohim
of which the Elohim had said, I will establish my name in Jerusalem. He built altars for all the host of heaven in the two courts of the house of the Elohim. He consigned his sons to the fire, so he did abortions. But the most evilest, wickedest thing he gonna do, the most evilest, wicked thing he gonna do is he gonna build it the zodiac signs and all that old stuff, the host of heaven and the zodiac signs he gonna put in the temple, and he gonna be the one that be done did it. And then if you go to I think it'll be Ezekiel 9, you gonna see them, you know, during the captivity. Why the captivity is going on and the folks is coming to get us, you gonna see them in the temple doing that stuff that Manasseh had put in there. And this is King Hezekiah's granddaddy. He gonna be no brung our doom. This gonna be the king that made where there was no recovery, but we couldn't recover after this. We was already doing Egyptian religion. He broke us down, and then the Egyptians, them just come to just peel our cap back. Man, I'm talking about, man, they tore us up so bad with their gods and they worship, kind of like the same way that they do now. Got the Israelites all confused, discombobulated, no organized as a people. We can only be organized as a people and have strength only in Yah worship. And it can't be nothing else short of that. Nothing else short of that. Alright, let's go to Ezekiel. That'll be, I think, 8. And let's see what happened. Alright. And then this is what Manasseh had set up. And look, this is during the captivity. Look. And it come to pass in the 6th year, in the 6th month, in the fifth day of the month, as I sat in mine house, and the elders of Judah sat before me, that the hand of the Elohim fell there upon me. Then I beheld, lo, a likeness at the appearance of fire, from the appearance of his loins even downward, and from his loins even upward was the appearance of brightness as the color of ember. And he put forth his hand and took me by a lock of mine head, and the Spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven, and brought me in the vision of Yah to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate, and that looketh toward the north, where was the seat of the image of jealousy, which provoked to jealousy. And behold, the glory of the Elohim of Israel was there, according to the vision that I saw in the plain. So Almighty Yah was there. Then said he unto me, Son of man, lift up thine eyes now the way toward the north. So I lifted up my eyes the way toward the north, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar, the jealousy of image in the entry. And he said furthermore unto me, Son of man, seest thou what they do, even the great abomination that the house of Israel committed here? See, we were still around. It wasn't no Assyrian captivity. That I should go far from my sanctuary, but turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see great abominations. And he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in, and behold, the wicked abominations they do here. So I went in and saw, and behold, the form of creeping things and abominable beasts and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about. See? Oh man, that's awful right there. That's what Manasseh had set up. That's what he had set up. He set that up in the temple. Look, all right. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 55 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hezbollah. Oh, I said I was going to read this from the Mentanah. All right, so but we know his mama name was Hezbollah. All right, and he did that which was real evil. All right. He built altars for all the hosts of heaven in the two courts of the house of the Elohim. He consigned his sons to the fire. He practiced soothsaying, divination, consulted ghosts and familiar spirits. He did much that was displeasing to the Elohim to vex him. The sculptured image of Asherah that he made, he placed in the house concerning which the Elohim had said to David and to his son Solomon, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I chose out of all the tribes of Israel, I will establish my name forever, and I will not again cause the feet of Israel to wander from the land that I gave to their fathers, if they will faithfully observe, but if they will faithfully observe all that I have commanded them, all the teachings which my servant Moses charged them. But they did not obey, and Manasseh led them astray to do greater evil than the nations that the Elohim had destroyed before the Israelites. Therefore the Elohim spoke through his servants the prophets, because King Manasseh of Judah had done these abhorrent things. He has outdone in wickedness all that the Amorites did before his time. Look, you can't get no worse than that. They were sin come from. But Manasseh was way worse than that. Way worse than the Amorites, man. You can't get no worse than that. You can't get no worse than them. You can't get no worse. The Egyptians in ain't got nothing worse than the Amorites. The Amorites kept all the Babylonian gods. They're responsible for false god worship. So Manasseh was worse than them. And all that the Amorites did before his time, and because he led Judah to sin with his fetish, assuredly this said the Elohim, the Yah Israel, I am going to bring such a disaster on Jerusalem and Judah that both ears of everyone who hear about it would tingle. I will apply to Jerusalem the measuring line of Samaria and the weights of the house of Ahab, and I will wipe Jerusalem clean as one wipeth a dish and turn it upside down, and I will cast off the remnant of my people and deliver them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall be plundered and prey to all their enemies, because they have done what is displeasing to me. And then look here, let me show you. Now we know that Zephaniah is going to be a prophecy before Jeremiah. Probably about a good, Jeremiah came on and, man, I think in 621. Let's look and see. Man, it was over with. No recovering after what he did. This is what sent us, not only this sent us and got us going towards the curses, and we sealed our faith in the book of Jeremiah when we said we didn't even want to do the covenant. That's going to be because of that wickedness that Manasseh and them put on us. Remember, Manasseh's son gonna be Amon. He was wicked. And then King Josiah was born, who was a prophecy king that tried to get us right, but our spirit was with the other nations, and they false worshiped the Egyptians and the Assyrians and so forth. And then that will bring us down. We will go into Africa and be enslaved, man, to what we are now today. Fooling with them folks' religion. But if you go to Jeremiah 44, when he said he was going to turn Judah upside down, now remember, Zephaniah going to be by, let me see, Jeremiah is from, see, all this is coming fast. All this destruction is coming fast. It ain't taking no long time. All right, Jeremiah is 6:29. So if Zephaniah come in 7
30, so it's about 9 years later. 9 years later, man, this come to pass. Well, a little bit after 9, because the destruction came in 588 or 586 BCE. So, man, it ain't no more than a good 60 years or something like that. But look here, after he told that what would happen to Jerusalem, you can see it right here. Look, Jeremiah 44. This said the Elohim of hosts, the Yah of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon all the cities of Judah. And behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth therein. That's cause Ashkenazi showed up like the like the prophet Mehabak said. He they gonna show up. They showed up under the Babylonian Chaldean alliance under the name Scythian. I just did a video about that. They show up. They show up, and it was over. We got chased into Africa, and we stayed in Africa to the transatlantic slave trade. These are the doomsday prophets right here. These are the doomsday prophet. Nahum for us fooling with Assyria, and Syria get destroyed. Judah being tricked, doing Amorite, Canaanite religions, and can't stop, and Mehabak, Adum. Man, it's a lot to learn from this Tanakh. So we see that what the Creator told Manasseh, what was going to happen to us come to pass in the book of Jeremiah. But, we're going to see what Zephaniah got to say, because it was a few years before the many events took place. Look, so there shall be plunder and prey to all the enemies, because they have done what is displeasing to me, and have been vexing me from the day that their fathers come out of the Egypt. Man, to this day, I told y'all we was messed up with that Egyptian stuff from the start. Moreover, Manasseh put so many innocent persons to death that he filled Jerusalem with blood from one end, from end to end. Beside the sin he committed, he caused Judah to do what was displeasing to the Elohim. The other events of Manasseh's reign and all his action and the sins he committed, are they recorded in the annals of the kings of Judah? Manasseh slept with his father. Yeah, man. Yes, sir. And now check this out. Now, let's go into the Zephaniah. Because look, after Manasseh, Amon, his son Amon, when Manasseh got took to Babylon, when the Assyrians men controlled Babylon, and he got a chance to come back home. Let me see this. The Assyrians controlled Babylon at one time. All right, let's see. All right, look, you see, Babylon is conquered by Assyrians. That's when they had us in the army. That's when they had the Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh in the army. That destroyed the northern kingdom, because they didn't have no fighters to protect them no more. You know what I'm saying? And then, the Scythians and everybody was coming from the east part, driving us, into Africa and so forth. But you see, Babylon is conquered by the Syrians, and they would hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? And they would hold on to it for a good little while until the Ashkenazi get together with their little crew and then attack Assyria. You know what I'm saying? And then that would send the Syrians scrambling. They gonna write it up in history, messed up, and tell lies and so forth, because they don't want nothing to connect us real Israelites meant to know truth. But you see, the Syrians would go scrambling and running to Africa trying to get help from the Egyptians and so forth. And then, Egypt is conquered by Syria. But no, they tied up together. They was fighting against
Ashkenazi under the name Scythian, who done dogged the Syria out and snuck up in there, and then they got situated, and then when Assyrian armed enemies who they held in subjection turned against them, Ashkenazi was right in the middle of Assyria, and they would turn on Assyria, and then they would help the Babylonians get back control, man, of their land and so forth, and then they would take parts of Babylon, Chaldea. But look here, look, Egypt is conquered by Assyria. All right, Egypt, they didn't expel no Assyrians. They went on, look, war between Assyria and the Elamites. All right, the great Assyrian city, Nineveh was sacked and burned by Ashkenazi right there. Look, you see how they starting to leave Ashkenazi name out of the destruction of Assyria because they know that they came to our land next and settled in what's called Scythopolis. Look, the downfall of the Assyrian Empire. You know, downfall of the Assyrian Empire. All right. All right, so we see, look, let's read. All right, so we know that Manasseh brought out destruction, and then this is said during King Josiah's rule. You know, when Zephaniah popped up, King Josiah was still king. So let's read some of King Josiah's history, and then maybe we can get, some understanding. All right, Josiah. All right, let's go right here. Let's read this. All right, let's go to 22. All right, here it is right here. Look, Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign. But let's go back in time because Josiah gonna be a prophecy king, from Jeroboam days when Jeroboam brought that Egyptian religion out and put it on us, put it on the northern kingdom. All right, let's go to let me see, let me see, that'll be 1 Kings 11. All right, 13, because 13 is a bad number for him. 13 is a bad number for him, but it's a good number for us. Look, this is in 931 BCE. Look, behold, this is in 931 BCE. Behold, there come a man of Yah out of Judah by the word of the Elohim unto Bethel, and Jeroboam, you see, because Jeroboam from the tribe of Ephraim, he brought the Egyptian religion out, put it on the northern kingdom, causes to be doomed. Look, unto Bethel, Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense, and he cried against the altar in the word of the Elohim and said, Altar, 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 this saith the Elohim, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name, and upon thee shall he offer the priests of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and men's bone shall be burnt upon thee. So, that come to pass. And this is it. About 300 some years later, look, Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jediah, the daughter of Adaliah of Bogast. He did what was pleasing to the Elohim and followed all the ways of his ancestor David, and he did not deviate to the right or to the left. In the 18th year of King Josiah, the king sent the scribes of Shaphan and Azaliah, son of Mesulam, to the house of the Elohim, saying, Go to the high priest Hezekiah. That's going to be Jeremiah's daddy right there. Prophet Jeremiah's daddy. And Jeremiah come on 3 years after he was on the throne too. Look, go to the high priest Hezekiah and let him weigh the silver that has been deposited in the house of the Elohim, which the guards of the threshold have collected from the people, and let it be delivered to the overseers of the work who are in charge of the house of the Elohim, that they in turn may pay it out to the workmen that are in the house of the Elohim for the repair of the house, the carpenters, the laborers, the masons, and for the purchase of wood and quarry stone for repair of the house. However, no check is to be kept on them for the silver that is delivered to them, for they dealt honestly. Then the high priest Hilkiah said to the scribe Shebna, I have found a scroll of the teachings in the house of the Elohim. And Hilkiah gave the scroll to Shaphan, who read it. The scribe Shaphan then went to the king and reported to the king, your servants have melted down the silver that was deposited in the house, and they have delivered it to the overseers of the work who are in charge of the house of the Elohim. The scribe Shaphan also told the other events of, let me see, the other events. All right, the other events to the king. The high priest Hilkiah has given me a scroll, and Shaphan read it to the king. And when the king heard the words of the scroll of the teachings, he rent his clothes. And the king gave order to the priest Hilkiah and to Hakim of Shaphan, Achbar, son of Micaiah, the scribe Shaphan, and Asariah, the king's minister, go inquire of the Elohim on my behalf and on behalf of the people and on behalf of all Judah concerning the words of this scroll that has been found. For great indeed must be the wrath of the Elohim that has been kindled against us, because of our fathers did not obey the words of this scroll to do all that has been prescribed for us. So the priest Hilkiah and Achbar, Shaphan, and Asa went to the prophetess Huldah, the wife of Shallum, son of Tikva, son of Herhaz, the keeper of the wardrobe, who was living in Jerusalem, in the Mishnah, and they spoke to her. She responded, this said the Elohim, the Yah Israel, say to the man who sent you to me, this said the Elohim, I am going to bring disaster upon this place and its inhabitants in accordance with all the words of the scroll which the king of Judah had wrote, because they have forsaken me and have made offerings to other gods and vexed me with all their deeds. My wrath is kindled against this place, and it shall not be quenched. But say, you know what I'm saying, oh man, so Manasseh brung that mess down on us. Manasseh brung that mess down on us. So he even told King Josiah that we couldn't be saved. And it was over. And Zephaniah was doing Josiah's time in King Hezekiah's time. Let's go read some of it. Let's read some of it. So we know that we was told it was over with. Zero chance of recovery. Zero chance of recovery when he tell you it's over with. It's just a matter of time. So, all right. So Zephaniah is right about that time, and this is 4 years after what Manasseh had did with all this stuff. Look, the word of the Elohim that came to Zephaniah, son of Cushi. So he was son of Black, of the brother named Black. So the brother named Cushi mean that the brother named Black. We call Israelites black now all the time, you know. So, you know what I'm saying? He was the son of Black, son of Gadallah, son of Amariah, son of Hezekiah, during the reign of King Josiah, son of Amon of Judah. I will sweep everything away from the face of the earth, declares the Elohim. I will sweep away man and beast. I will sweep away the birds of the sky and the fish of the sea. I will make the wicked stumble. I will destroy mankind from the face of the earth. Now, just imagine. Now, Manasseh just finished doing all that stuff, and the children Israel still on that stuff to King Josiah clean it up. Man, that's some few years away. Look here, that's some few years away that we still on that stuff that Manasseh put us on, all the way to King Josiah come about to clean it up, and then that still wasn't meant enough. Look, that still wasn't good enough. Oh man, it's off. All right. All right, he says, all right. I will make the wicked stumble. I will destroy mankind from the face of the earth, declares the Elohim. I will stretch out my arm against Judah and against all who dwell in Jerusalem, and I will wipe out from this place every vestige of veil. Look, Jeremiah 44. I just finished reading it. Look, Jeremiah 44, 22. Jeremiah 44, verse 2. That come to pass a few years later because we know Jeremiah is right after this. Look, so that come to pass. 44, look. This said the Elohim of hosts, the Yah of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon all the cities of Judah, and behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth. And then we went into Africa during this time. This is us going into Africa. Now look here. You didn't see it. Look. In the name of the priestling among the priests. And now look, I just showed how the folks, couldn't do right. In the name of the priestling among the priests, and those who bow down on the roofs to the host of heaven, and those who bow down and swear to the Elohim, but also swear by Malcolm, those who have forsaken the Elohim, and those who have not sought the Elohim, and have not turned to him. Manasseh put that stuff on us, them stuff, and then them false priests, them Amorites being in there corrupting the priests, making them false. Man, we was going through a lot. Look. All right. Be silent before my Yah, my Elohim Yah, for the day of the Elohim is approaching. For the Elohim has prepared a sacrificial feast, has bidden his guests purify themselves, and on the day of the Elohim sacrifice I will punish the officials, the king's sons, and all who done a foreign vestment. I will also punish on the day everyone who steps over the threshold, who fill their master's palace with lawlessness and fraud. In that day there shall be, declared the Elohim, a loud outcry from the fish gate, and howl from the Mishnah, and a sound of great anguish from the hills. The dwellers of Michtahal and all the tradesmen have perished. All who weigh silver are wiped out, because we know Ashkenazi showed up on the scene, and they coming for all the goods, and they cleared the land out just like the Creator said. It wasn't nobody there, not a soul. Look, you see, look. This said the Elohim of hosts, the Yah of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem, and behold, in all the cities of Judah, and behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth therein. That's Jeremiah 44, 2. All right. And this was before then. At that time, I will stretch Jerusalem with lumps, and I will punish the men who rest untroubled on their leaves, who say to themselves, the Elohim will do nothing good or bad. Their wealth shall be plundered, and their homes laid waste. They shall build houses and not dwell in them, plant vineyards and not drink their wine. The great day of the Elohim is approaching, and approaching most swiftly. You can see it wasn't no food in Habakkuk time. Habakkuk in 625, he was saying, hey man, all the stuff and then come off the trees, they ain't had no rain, won't nothing grow, the sheeps and everything starting to disappear, and ain't nothing here. It was starting to come towards our end. The great day of the Elohim is approaching most swiftly. That's because Ashkenazi was on the way to Scythian. See, we didn't know it, and we didn't thought we can be removed. See, we didn't thought we could be removed because we kicking it with the Syrians and the Egyptians. We had the big head. Look, hark, the day of the Elohim is bitter. Men is bitter. There are warrior streaks. The day shall be a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of calamity and dissolution, a day of darkness and deep gloom, a day of dense and cloud, a day of horn blasts and alarms, And against the fortified towns, the lofty corner towers, I will bring distress on the people, and they shall walk like blind men. When them folks came, it was just like that. Their blood shall be spilled like dust, and their fat like dung. Moreover, their silver and gold shall not avail to save them. But remember, we once upon a time can get the folks to go, and get them up off us, as King Joash did, I think, when he gave them Amorites, no, gave the Assyrians a bunch of gold. Let me see if I can find that. Man, we gave the Syrians a whole bunch of gold, man, to get up off us. And then that was one of the curses, that when we went into captivity, is that nobody would buy us, meaning that we couldn't bring no silver and no gold, man, to get them folks up off us. We couldn't bring no silver, men, and no gold to get them folks up off of us when we went into captivity. All right. All right, so this would be Second Kings 17, 2 Kings 12:17. Let's see what it say. 2 Kings 12:17. 2 Kings. Then Hazael, king of Assyria, went up and fought against Gath and took it. And Hazael set his face to go up to Jerusalem. And King Jehoash, king of Judah, took all the hollow things that Jehoshaphat and Jehoram and Ahaziah, his fathers, kings of Judah, had dedicated, and his own hollow things, and all the gold that was found in the treasure of the house of the Elohim and in the king's house. And he sent it to Hazael, king of Assyria, and he went away from Jerusalem. He said we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that. We couldn't do that this time. You know what I'm saying? But we couldn't buy our way out. When nobody buys, look, I would stretch out Jerusalem with lumps. I will punish the men, the rest with untrouble on their leaves, who say to themselves, the Elohim will do nothing good nor bad. Their wealth shall be plundered, and their homes laid waste. They shall build houses, not dwell in their vineyards, and so they shall not drink the wine thereof. The great day of the Elohim is approaching most swiftly. Hark, the day of the Elohim is bitter. All right, trouble and distress. A day of trouble, distress, a day of calamity and desolation, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of dense cloudiness, a day of horn and blast against the fortified towns, the lofty corners of the towers. I will bring destruction on the people, and they shall walk like blind men, because they sin against the Elohim. Their blood shall be spilled like dust, and their fat like dung. Moreover, their silver and gold shall not avail to save them on the day of the Elohim's wrath. In the fire of his passion, the whole land shall be consumed, for he will make a terrible end of all who dwell in the land. And look, there it is. Jeremiah, it came to pass in the book of Jeremiah. We went into Africa, and we never come back home. We never come back out. The 99% went into Africa because all this stuff right here was against us. Look, gather old nations without shame, but before the day that the decree is born. The day flies by like chaff before the furious anger of the Elohim overtake you. Before the day of anger of the Elohim overtake you. Seek the Elohim, all you humble of the land, who have fulfilled his law. So he was giving us a chance, man. It come to an end. It come to an end so fast for us. Seek righteousness, seek humility. Perhaps you will find shelter on the day of the Elohim's anger. Indeed, Gaza shall be deserted, Ashkelon desolate, Ashdod people shall be expelled in broad daylight, Ekron shall be uprooted, and the nation of Chetherites who inhabit the coast. There is a word of the Elohim against you, O Canaan, land of the Philistines. I will lay you waste without inhabitants. The sea coast, Chetherites shall become as Abah for shepherds and foes of flocks, and shall be a portion for the remain of the house of Judah. On these pastures they shall graze their flocks. They shall lay down at eventide in the house of Ashkelon, And the Elohim, their Yah, will take note of them and restore their fathers. I, I, I heard the insults of Moab and the jeers of the Ammonites who have insulted my people. That's them folks over there now, man, that's in our heritage, and gloated over their country. Assuredly as I live, declared the Elohim of hosts of Yah of Israel, Moab shall become like Sodom, and the Amorites like Gomorrah. Clumps of weeds and patches of salt and desolation evermore. The remainder of my people shall plunder them. The remainders of my nation shall possess them. This is what they'll get for their haughtiness, for insulting and jeering at the people of the Elohim of hosts. The Elohim will show himself terrible against them, cause to see, because we got destroyed and they knew how we was acting up in the promised land and about to get kicked out, that all our enemies was having a party while it was going on, and then they even helped the folks that was kicking us out. And the people of the Elohim of hosts, the Elohim will show himself terrible against them, causing all the gods on earth to shrivel, and all the coastland of the nations shall bow down to him, every man in his own home. You Cushites too, they shall be slain by my sword. And he will stretch out his arm against the north and destroy Assyria. He will make Nineveh a desolation. And now listen, we already know that this is in 638. Nineveh was destroyed in 612. 612, it was over with for them, man. It's like a few years later. All right. And the flock shall lie down, every species of beast, wild jackals and owls hoots at his capels. The great owl hoots in the windows, and the raven clocks on the threshold, for he has stripped his cedar work bare. In this day, the gay city that dwells secure, that thought in her heart, I am, and there is none but me. Alas, she is becoming waste, a lyre of wild beasts. Everyone who passed by her hissed and gestured with his hand. Old, sullied, and polluted, overbearing city, she has been disobedient, has learnt no lesson. She has not trusted in the Elohim, has not drawn near to her. The officials within her are roaring lions. Her judges are wolves of the steepies. They have no bone men until morning. Her prophets are reckless, faithless followers. Her priests profane what is holy. They give perverse rulings. I told them Amorites was in there mixed in with the folks. Look, but the Elohim, in the midst of her righteousness, he does no wrong. He issues judgment every morning and unfailing as the light. The wrongdoer knows no shame. I wipe out nations, their corners, towers, and desolation. I turn their thoroughfares into ruins, with none passing by. Their towns lay waste without people, without inhabitants. And I, though that she would fear me, would learn a lesson, and that the punishment I brought on them would not be last on her. Instead, all the more eagerly they have practiced corruption in all their deeds. That's us, we wouldn't turn away. But wait for me, said the Elohim, for the day when I arise and accuse her, when I decide to gather the nations, to bring kingdoms together, to pour out my indignation on them, all my blazing anger. Indeed, by my fire of my passion, all the earth shall be consumed. That's that nuke that's going to get everybody. For then I will make the people pure of speech, that they all evoke the Elohim by name and serve him with one accord. From beyond the rivers of Cush, my supplement shall bring offerings to me in fair other in their day. You know what I'm saying? From beyond the rivers of Cush. You know, beyond the rivers of Cush is this way. All right. The proud and exalted within you, you will be haughty no more. Oh, my scared mount, but I will leave within you a poor, humble folk. They shall find refuge in the name of the Elohim. The remainder of Israel shall do no wrong and speak no falsehood. A deceitful tongue shall not be in their mouth. Only such as those shall gaze and lie down, with none to trouble them. Shout for joy Fair Zion, cry aloud, O Israel, because we're going to get it right in the end. Rejoice and be glad with all your heart. Fair Jerusalem, the Elohim has annulled the judgment against you. He has wiped away your foes. Israel sovereign, the Elohim is within you. You need fear misfortune no more. In that day there shall be said to Jerusalem, have no fear, Zion. Let not your hands drop. Your Yah, the Elohim, is in your midst, a warrior who brings trump. He will rejoice over you and be glad. He will shout over you with jubilation. He will soothe with love. Those long disconsolate will take away from you the woe over which you endured mockery. At that time I will make an end of all who afflict you, and I will rescue the lame sheep gathered the stray, and I will exchange their disgrace for fame and renown in all the earth. And at that time I will gather you, and at that time I will bring you home, for I will make you renowned and famous among all the people on the earth, when I restore your fortune before their very eyes, said the Elohim. So we waiting on that to happen. That's going to happen. But you see, he was telling you that we had to get off the land, and that's going to be because of the wickedness that Manasseh did. And King Josiah couldn't even save us, and that how it was a done deal that we had to go through what we going through because he opened the door for it. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood.